It's wonderful to be here with all of you. Welcome to the closing plenary of CF Solutions 2020. I am Nadya and I am so happy to be here with all of you, and I hope that it has been an informative, inspiring few days for all of you. We've heard from many voices from many sectors over the last 3 days, and in regards to marine litter and less plastic wasted, we can see that building back better will certainly take wide-scale involvement. Multi-stakeholder action along the entire value chain is crucial, and top-down engagement for measurable circularity is vital for long-term economic sustainability. We must consider the interests of multiple stakeholders: governments, business, researchers, consumers, international organizations, all groups in society, leaving no one behind and protecting the livelihoods of all. We need to scale up our commitments to really move the needle. And by doing all that we can to work together in collaboration. Now, this session will raise collective regional voices for solutions to the plastic pollution conundrum. We feature messages of urgency, pledges, announcements, and commitments from various perspectives, that being government, business, private sector, informal sector, social enterprise groups, community, and the youth. The aim is to focus on ways forward and collective actions, exemplifying a partnership approach for marine plastic pollution prevention in Southeast Asia. I would now like to call on representatives from each of the different stakeholder groups to convey their interests, challenges, opportunities of their sector, what can be collectively done or how can they contribute, and their pledges of how their organizations will move towards shifting the needle, moving the needle on less plastic waste, and how we, you, all of us, can be a part of the solution. First up, I'd like to welcome, on representing the government sector, Nguyen Lam, Deputy Director General of VASI. I'm wondering if our representative is having troubles unmuting. Let me just check if they're here. Yes, he's muted.
The conference today. No.
We can hear you now.
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you now.
Yeah. In the CF Solutions 2020 conference today, on behalf of the Ministry of the Natural Resources and Environment in Vietnam, we pledge to invest our best capacity in implementing the followings: regional and national partnership in combating marine plastic litter, research and information share on new technologies for marine environmental protection and circular economic transition, environmental and economic recovery during the COVID-19 pandemic, formation of a blue alliance between authorities, enterprises, and NGOs. And last but not least, a global agreement on marine plastic litter management. It is our goal that in the 2030, Vietnam will be a regional pioneer in marine plastic litter management. This marks the end of our pledge. And may I wish you all the best in this daring time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nguyen. And next up, representing the business sector, I would like to invite Mr. Nguyen Lee Tan Long of UNEP Holdings. Do we have Mr. Nguyen?
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Okay.
Who do we have here?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, through the Sea of Solution 2020, we all know that plastic waste and marine pollution in Southeast Asia has become a global development challenge. And we heard about the number of extreme impression, reflection, and commitment shown by ministry, business, and organization to work together for the reduction of marine plastic waste. As a manufacturer company, we have a clear responsibility to play our part. And today, on behalf of Vietnamese business, Untitled Holdings commit to continue joining the marine plastic waste reduction by focusing on research and development of environmentally friendly products, building ecosystem toward green growth and sustainability. In addition, together and support the government, ministry, agency, and other organizations in reducing ocean plastic waste activity, and we're proud to be part of the solution. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nguyen. I'd now like to invite Iris Lam from Design and Sustainable Development at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group.
Hello, everyone. I'm Iris Lam, and I'm the Director of Food and Beverage Design and Sustainable Development for Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group. We're a luxury hospitality group with presence in 23 countries. It's my pleasure to be here today and have this great opportunity to share amongst this diverse group of sustainability thought leaders and impart some insights from our sustainability journey within the business sector towards elimination of single-use plastics. And more importantly, share ideas on ways forwards and how it's become very apparent that we need to collaborate with one another, regardless of sector, to move that needle. I'll start off with my pledge on behalf of Mandarin Oriental as part of our commitment here at Sea of Solutions. So I pledge to continue driving Mandarin Oriental's ambitious goal of eliminating all single-use plastics from our premises by the end of March 2021 and beyond by collaborating and providing leadership to
It seems that we may have lost Iris there. Iris is muted for some reason. Iris, can you hear me? There you go. Welcome back.
I'm so sorry about that.
No problems. Maybe just rewind about 30 seconds and we'll be good.
I was going on about that pledge and basically how we're doing this. It's a pretty ambitious goal. Well, first, we're starting by focusing on eliminating 60 of the most commonly used single-use plastic items in our hotels, which we estimate make up of 95% of the total single-use plastics that we use. And we replace them with reusable or unprocessed plant fiber-based eco alternatives wherever possible. So you did catch that I probably said and beyond from that target date of end of March. And I wanted to caveat that it's not so much that we're backing away from our target. And it's actually because we've wanted to make sure that we recognize that our efforts alone as a business will require more than just our efforts alone. And we need to keep working this problem for years to come. So within our industry, our supply chain needs to normalize eco alternatives so that there are more and more such products that we can readily procure transparently and at feasible price points. So far, towards our goal, we've reached 70% elimination, but we know that we can't just stop there. And we also need to rally demand by working with our hotels, our industry partners, share best practices, supplier recommendations, and other information that can help the industry move away from plastic's presence in so many common items. And packaging used to deliver goods into our hotels also is something that we need to overcome. And we're working to resolve this with ongoing supplier engagement, challenging vendors, working together to come up with strategies to help reduce that amount of plastic that ultimately is coming, and perhaps sourcing in bulk packages so that we just limit packaging altogether. I wanted to bring up one more point about COVID-19. It's a very real current situation that we're going through. And the depletion of our existing stock of plastic has admittedly slowed down in the advent of this, with new hygiene protocols, government mandated requirements arising from the pandemic as well. One such example, which we're trying to overcome this, is developing We Care packages for our guests. And for those who will require it, we have included in that package reusable fabric face masks that are plastic free. This is just one such example. But the message that we're trying to convey is that hygiene and the highest sanitary standards can be maintained without single-use, non-reusable plastics. So along this journey, we absolutely recognize that moving that needle involves more players than just within our industry. And we all have a voice to advocate for that change we want to see, whether we're representing business, the community, social enterprises, or youth groups. And so we all need to come together, whether it's legislation that supports a framework that discourages single-use plastic use, and to build infrastructure in our cities to manage produced waste so that zero waste to landfill is possible. So my hope in participating here today and moving forwards is that we work this problem together and we make serious strides in eradicating this global plastic pollution problem. Thank you very much.
Iris, thank you so much for sharing all of the inspiring work that the Mandarin Oriental Hotel Group is doing. It's always wonderful to hear, and there's always learning opportunities as well, as you mentioned, for others to be learning from those who are leading in this space. Next up in the informal sector, I'd like to welcome Kabir Arora from WIEGO, the Global Alliance of Waste Pickers. Over to you, Kabir.
Hi, I will be speaking very slowly. The internet connection is erratic and there is a cyclone going on in background. So we know things are a little haywire. Just to give commitment in the sense of what the Global Alliance is committed to organize waste pickers across the world. And the reason is to bring people across the world together and also build partnerships with the manufacturers particularly to find a way out for extended producers' responsibility. And our vision is that at the end of the day, in entire global south, waste pickers are organized and they are included and integrated into the waste management system. And now going back, this is a pledge which we have also taken to organize everyone out there. And we are also trying to build it into the laws of many countries. So we are organizing to change the solid waste management systems and make them more inclusive, and also to reduce plastics, and also to show that plastic have recycling value. It's not that all plastic is bad. Plastic provides for livelihood, and we have to make sure that there are processes which recycle and provide for livelihood, and there is a fair system in place. Now, coming back to the question of how we survived the pandemic, I think it's important to remember that 9 months have gone by and things have changed around us. But what we saw was the solidarity which came from across the sector. And this was from the businesses, this was from the art, this was from cinema. People came together to support each other. And I think that's a very strong sense of community which has emerged in the COVID crisis. And it has shown that we all can come together and be resilient together. And the bigger challenges, like the challenges of climate change, the challenge of ocean plastic, now seem to be a smaller challenge if you compare it versus the pandemic, which we all have worked together to survive together. So that's something which I think needs to be brought in. There are some of the questions which we have not answered. There is the social protection systems there are pressures on social protection systems. There is pressure in building. So this is where we need to build solidarity further to ensure that waste pickers get their fair price from the plastic. And then we also ensure that we all work together to bring in more collaborations in the system. And the pandemic has shown that these collaborations are worthwhile. We have a shared sense of humanity in terms of working together. And that's something which we should all aspire for. The Global Alliance, if you want to learn a little more about what we are doing, we have some of the members in Indonesia, we have members in India who are very strong working in organizing waste pickers. In Indonesia, we have 3.4 million big waste pickers organization, which is a part of it. In India, we have a national network which has more than 35 organizations in it. Similarly, in South America, we have entire South America is organized. So now we are trying to build networks in Southeast Asia and other parts of South Asia, and it's part of the plan to have a wider collaboration with everybody who's sitting in the room. So we are all open to work with the governments, to work with the corporations, and also the other actors who are there to bring social change to end plastic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kabir, again, for the inspiring work that you're doing, supporting those that are most often in the marginalized areas and also often exposed to great health risks, especially for the women who are in that sector. Next up, representing the social enterprise sector, we've got Tom Peacock Nazil from the 7 Clean Seas organization.
Thanks, Nadya. My name is Tom Peacock-Nazil, and I founded a social enterprise called 7 Clean Seas. We're an ocean cleanup organization striving to build a scalable funding mechanism which can sustainably support marine cleanup efforts. We currently have 2 projects ongoing: the development of a river cleanup technology in Vietnam and a remote island waste management infrastructure project in Indonesia. Like many, COVID-19 struck a blow to our cash flow in early 2019. But due to the fantastic support of some of our partners like Microsoft, Marina Bay Sands, Howden Group, and many, many more, we actually managed to optimize our project plans and are actually now looking forward to 2021 with excitement. Not many people know, but social enterprises are actually for-profit businesses which seek to maximize profits like a regular business, whilst maximizing benefits to society and the environment. Although not a new concept, social enterprises are often not fully understood, and as a sector, we need to make sure we communicate our impact and our purpose for being clearly and effectively. Social enterprises offer a truly powerful mechanism for taking traditional capitalism and using it for good. If we can design businesses with positive impact as the direct outcome, rather than simply an additional afterthought, then we can start the journey of economic transformation needed to create real, scalable change. As an organization, we already have a no single-use plastic policy, as you might imagine. So for this pledge, 7 Clean Seas pledges to improve, provide, and champion transparency and effective communication across all of our activities, partnerships, and projects. Transparency is key to building trusted and effective systems. And unfortunately, this is an area which requires improvement within the sustainability sector as well. To finish up, I think it's fair to say that 2020 has been a difficult year for all, but with the recent vaccine developments for COVID-19, it feels like the end is finally in sight. Unfortunately though, we must not forget there is no vaccine for marine plastic pollution. We must keep working hard, innovating, inventing, and most importantly, holding ourselves and businesses accountable if we are to ever take control of the marine plastic crisis. There is so much work to do, so let's get to work.
Thank you so much, Tom. Yes, you do mention a couple of things there about the amount of work that needs to be done, and it can seem overwhelming at times. And for those of us who are in the sector of creating change and trying to innovate, one of the most important things is making sure that our minds are in good shape so that we can actually be in a space of innovation and creative thinking, agility, and being able to adapt. So I do also recommend that everyone who's out there and trying to fight the good fight to please take time to look after yourself as well. And I know it sounds cheesy, but it's neuroscience. Okay, coming up next, from the community sector, I'd like to welcome Antoinette Toss, who is representing or coming from the community of Organized for Resource Allocation, CORA. Sorry, let me say that again. Communities Organized for Resource Allocation. There we go. I think that sounds a lot better. Antoinette, over to you.
Thank you so much, Nadia, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening to our most honorable and distinguished guests and heroes of our earth. I'm Antoinette Toss, founder of Cora Philippines, and we are deeply grateful to once again be a part of this year's Voices Plenary, representing communities. 2020 may have proven to bring about some of the greatest challenges of our time, but we have also been incredibly inspired by the heroism of citizens across the world, from medical professionals to people just like you and me, doing what they can in any way they can to help create a better future where no one is left behind. And as we continue to move forward together on the mission to beat plastic pollution, may we always remember that the negative impacts of pollution of all forms greatly affect the most vulnerable of our citizens, above all, women, children, families living in poverty with extremely limited means and access to the solutions that we actually need for a healthy and sustainable future. Now, Cora's mission for clean seas has brought together thousands of volunteers year after year to help clean our Philippine coastlines and, of course, protect our precious biodiversity, proving the powerful force for good that communities possess when collective action is on a unified path. But while cleaning our coasts do not provide a realistic solution to the plastic pollution crisis, it must be done. And while the urgent need exists to recover the plastics littering our environment, concrete solutions require three key elements. And of course, that is systemic change, business unusual, and of course, transformative action from all of us. To further advance our pledge for clean seas, Cora is honored to announce a grant partnership with the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, as we launch the Clean Cities Blue Ocean program in the Philippines. By working strategically with the government of the Philippines, private sector partners, schools, the youth, and local communities, Cora pledges to reduce plastic pollution at the source and to divert waste from landfills towards circular innovations and pathways forward, while also significantly empowering women waste workers to serve as 3R champions in building sustainable cities that work together towards circular communities, especially for the most vulnerable of us. Now, Cora and USAID's Clean Cities Blue Ocean program is a pilot project with high potential for rapid scalable growth, wherein Cora shall be working within the actual MRF or materials recovery facility and together with local government units, particularly the Parañaque city government, side by side with local women 3R champions, hand in hand with local communities and in partnership with private sector brands. Together, we're on a mission to provide local citizens with realistic, effective, and accessible ways to reduce their carbon footprint, incentivize waste, while transforming unsustainable lifestyles. All this as we turn waste into products of worth through the power of community segregation, composting, and recycling. Because waste truly isn't waste until we waste it. Now, with simple yet powerful actions and a sea of solutions already available to us all, together we can strengthen waste management systems while empowering women in vulnerable communities, even in the most populated and progressive cities of the Philippines and neighboring nations, leading us all into a healthy, safe, inclusive, and empowered future with clean cities and a great, big, beautiful, plastic-free ocean.
Antoinette, thank you so much. I want to jump up and give you a big round of applause and say, oh my goodness, I want to be on your team. Amazing, 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 super inspiring. In fact, everyone who's in this space is totally inspiring. And there's space for everyone because we're all critical pieces of this puzzle, as we keep saying over and over again that we need to come together and collaborate. And there's no one person who has all the solutions. Next up, I'd like to invite our representative in the youth sector, Nguyen T. Queen An, who from the Ho Chi Minh Communist Youth Union, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. Do we have our next speaker?
Hồ Chí Minh, Bộ Tài nguyên Môi trường. Yes, on behalf of the Youth Union of the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment of Vietnam, we stay committed to reduce the plastic waste to protect our seas and oceans and making Vietnam to be a leading country in containing the marine plastic litter by 2025. And thank you very much. And that is our pledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would now like to invite, we have a video actually from Melati, Kevin, and Amrita from Bye Bye Plastic Bags, Indonesia.
Hello, my name is Melati. I'm 19 years old, a full-time changemaker, and also one of the founders of Bye Bye Plastic Bags.
Hi, I'm Kevin. I'm the team leader of Bye Bye Plastic Bags, Surabaya in Indonesia.
Hi everyone, my name is Riri and I am the leader of the BBPB Bogor team.
This is a campaign that we started almost 7 years ago when I was 12 years old with my younger sister at the age of 10. And we started it because we realized there was an issue of plastic pollution right here on our island home of Bali, Indonesia. And I think bioplastic bags uniquely has been put in a position where we were actually able to start creating those relationships on a high level. But I think globally and nationally throughout our work with bioplastic bags and our 50 teams all around the world, young people have that challenge and that struggle to really hold leaders accountable and also get a result and an outcome of the work that we do, which is mostly involved in education, inspiration, and leading by example.
So to address the first question, I would say that waste management is definitely one of the biggest issues that we face today in society and youth space. And to add to that, I think that the mindset that people still have of not treating this issue as a climate crisis as one of the number one issue that we have to tackle today is a harmful concern that is a challenge that we need to tackle in order to solve the climate crisis. People still prioritize convenience rather than thinking long term of what their actions can bring for this planet, for this home that we live in. For example, continuously purchasing plastic bottles and even littering.
We hear the phrase, it's only one plastic bag. It doesn't really matter that much, right? A lot during our campaigns trying to reach out to people. And people tend to use plastic bags due to its simplicity and usability, due to its widespread accessibility, and the fact that we can just throw it once we're done using it. People tend to think that the pros of plastic bags outweigh the cons, even if it's the other way around. And we have seen a dramatic increase of plastic bag consumption during the COVID-19 pandemic, as people tend to use more single-use items to avoid catching the virus.
To address question number 2, I'd say that BBPB as an organization has done a lot of projects in accomplishing our vision and mission. One program that we've been doing is called the Eco Coffee program, where we persuade cafe and restaurant owners in Bogor to adopt a greener way in running their business, to adopt a more eco-friendly lifestyle. And we've been pushing on this project since last year, and we hope to really finalize things early next year. Of course, COVID-19, the pandemic, has limited the scope of our activities. We had to forsake any field activities or outreaches that we initially planned and stick with more virtual events, more online webinars, for example. But I don't think that this posed a decrease in the significance of our activities, because no matter the situation we're in, I think that we can always accomplish our mission in some way and bring awareness towards our audience for this cause.
Bye Bye Plastic Bags Surabaya is currently partnering with schools across the city, trying to spread awareness and reach out to as many youth as possible on how they can be part of the change to achieving sustainable development goals. And COVID-19 has really provided us with a huge obstacle of not being able to meet face-to-face and bond better with students and young minds. However, we quickly realized that the youth generation has so much potential, so much creativity in tackling problems like this. Ideas like workshops, online campaigns, school presentation, even virtual cleanups. have really helped us in conducting our campaigns and awareness spreading.
I see a lot of people my age, the youths, really voicing out their concerns now and utilizing the platforms that they have, for example, on Instagram, to share their ideas and to promote or raise awareness on global issues, on environmental concerns. And I think that this cannot be underestimated, because sharing your ideas and voicing out your opinions can be very influential. And with the power of technology, with the power of social media, it can be a powerful tool in really influencing others to support this activism and to join this movement.
So I think what we look forward in doing with bioplastic bags is continue building the momentum that we've been doing through the eyes and through the perspective of young people, continuing with workshops, continuing with online campaigns, because one thing that we realized even through a pandemic, the plastic pollution problem does not stop, and it requires all hands on deck, but we believe that young people can accelerate this change. So we look forward to really showing the world through bioplastic bags that young people can do things.
BBP Bogor has some very exciting things coming up. We're currently working hard in our long-term projects in terms of waste management and collaborating with NGOs to create real difference, to see real difference in the city of Bogor. To add to that, currently we're working to maximize the time and opportunity that we have to host online events, to host webinars, to reach more people than what we could have done if we were to do a physical event. So no matter the situation that we're in, we're trying our best to accomplish our mission and vision as an organization, and to increase awareness and to make a difference within the city of Bogor.
In the future, we hope to be able to step up and take this further in socializing and spreading awareness to citizens of Surabaya by working hand in hand with the government, especially for them to be able to ban the usage of plastic bags, or basically reduce the amount of plastic bags in Surabaya itself. Although often looked down upon, we really believe that this generation can really change the world, and we invite you all, we highly encourage our fellow youths across the world to be part of the change with us. Thank you.
It's always so wonderful to hear from the youth, and especially from the guys from bioplastic bags. I'm always very, very proud to hear from them and see where they're at in their campaigns. Just as a note, Isabel and Malati both went to the same school as my two kids. I actually moved my kids from Singapore to Bali to be able to attend the Green School, which is considered to be one of the greenest schools on earth, with entrepreneurialism and sustainability at the heart of the curriculum. And Isabel and my son Finn were in the same class. So I've seen bioplastic bags grow from just an idea into what it is today. And it just really goes to show the potential of our communities, and when we empower the youth. And for me, as a longtime conservationist and environmental advocate, I've been speaking about these issues since the mid-90s. What I see is empowering the younger generation, and technology and innovation are the keys to moving forward in a more sustainable manner. So we cannot underestimate the power of the youth, and do whatever we can to absolutely empower them, and empower them also to know that that their well-being will also be looked after. All right, coming up next, we have, I'd like to remind everybody right now also that our pledges are still going on the platform. So please do log on to the Sea of Solutions platform. At this stage, we've got 24 people from our Sea of Solutions event community platform that have made the pledges, and they can, we're still open for more pledges from the community as well. Next up, we have a, sorry, I've got messages coming in at the same time. Here we go. The cutoff point will be at midnight Bangkok time tomorrow. So please keep your eyes on that. And I need my glasses. The pledges vary from commitments to recycle large quantities of ocean-bound plastic, to setting targets to be completely free of virgin plastic, to producing compost from household organic waste. Now, these pledges also include enhancing marine research, developing reuse models and plastic alternatives, fostering local solutions, and youth engagement, which is something that I spoke about just now. Very, very passionate about that. The pledges come from the private sector, companies and NGOs, individuals, and dedicated environmental organizations alike. Okay, video recordings of each session and the plenaries will be coming up soon. They'll be going online as well, so make sure you do check out those as well. Next up, we have Veronica, Veronica Pedrosa, who, with more than 20 years of experience as a journalist and a communicator, Veronica Pedrosa has played a key role at CNN, BBC World News, BBC World Service, and Al Jazeera English, responding to breaking news, shaping coverage, managing and providing leadership to multicultural teams of journalists. Ms. Pedrosa is a communicator who is in demand to speak, host, and moderate at international conferences, focusing on development, humanitarian issues, the environment, and journalism. In the past, Ms. Pedrosa has worked with heads of state, high government officials, experts, and philanthropists to produce informative debates on complex and controversial issues. So it is a great pleasure right now that we do have Veronica with us, and she is going to share a few words with us. Veronica, over to you.
Thanks very much indeed, Nadya. That I think those words came from my bio, so they're not really supposed to be an introduction to me. Very much for all the check of my career high points. So everyone, hello. Let's take a big breath as we commence the closing stretch of our meeting and take stock of what's been actually achieved over the past 3 days. I'm delighted to have this opportunity to take 5 minutes here to summarize the highlights. In continuing to explore and address plastic pollution priorities in the region, Sea of Solutions 2020 asked the vital question, how can we now progress towards less plastic wasted? And has the needle moved in the face of a global health crisis? Well, the past 3 days highlighted that change along the value chain across all sectors and stakeholders is possible and is urgently needed now more than ever. COVID-19 has exacerbated plastic pollution and put additional pressure on disadvantaged groups and businesses, especially in food packaging, e-commerce, healthcare, and plastic recycling across many countries. There is scientific evidence that reusable models are also capable of providing the same level of hygiene as single-use plastics. We need industry innovation, consumer awareness, and meaningful hygiene measures. COVID-19 has highlighted that our health is intrinsically linked to the health of our planet and ecosystems. We need a sound environmental response, and holistic risk management. The most severe impacts of environmental degradation will be felt by young people, future generations, and disadvantaged groups. Preventing plastic pollution is a human rights issue, and it's everyone's business. System change is critical. We need a shift from linear to circular systems that put people and planet at its core, and formal and informal sectors both need structural changes involving all parts of society, legislation, businesses, consumers, scientists, and investors. Awareness is increasing among consumers, businesses, and governments, but the risk remains that action and investment favor high urban areas with large populations, and that leaves rural areas behind. Keeping the supply chain and system as simple as possible is key to making small-scale initiatives successful and replicable, empowering and benefiting remote and island communities. We need to reach a balance between environmental cause, social benefits, and economic models for sustainability and success. Post-consumer packaging, waste collection, and recycling capacity remain critical issues. We need to rethink plastic packaging for circularity, implement simple and inclusive waste management systems, and increase consumer understanding. We need enabling systems of governments and infrastructure that ensures the demand and high quality supply of recyclates. Standardization of labeling and production standards in the ASEAN create predictability and transparency. Plastic pollution creates physical risks, economic losses, transition risks, liability risks, I should say. Multilateral development banks, private sector alliances, and the insurance industry have the power to de-risk investments and shift assets toward a circular economy. We have the tools to promote investment pipelines and innovative instruments to make sustainable projects bankable, using blue bonds, for example, guarantees, credit enhancements, and sustainability-linked loans. Tackling plastic pollution has become a crowded space with little coordination. So we need better alignment and collaboration across sectors and an enabling environment for effective action and to leverage private sector investment. To combat illegal waste trade effectively in Asia, we need better implementation of international and national legal frameworks and capacity for enforcement. Reduction of complexities made possible by limiting to the stakeholders in the region. Waste trade that was previously from outside the region has received a lot of attention. To facilitate better waste management, we should also look at waste trade within the region, and we should look for solutions that will deal with waste trade inside the region for waste trade solutions. Standardization of labeling production standards in the solution should be a focus. Awareness and actions increasing among consumers, businesses and governments, and investment is increasing. But it remains a risk that financing and regulations will favor those high urban areas, as I've mentioned. We are facing a lot of challenges, as you can see. We need alignment. We need good connections between short-term goals to protect jobs and long-term goals towards circular economies, better design and better metrics. Amazingly, there's no shortage of money out there. The world is awash with capital, we've heard. But what we need is more collaboration from the region and coordination between regions. Now, to conclude, your participation, of course, is absolutely crucial if we're going to get this enormous task done. So we showcased your voices by seeking a simple but powerful pledge from each of you. And of course, we heard about that from Nadya just now. What we've done is we've been hearing about how we need to have these simple, smart pledges from you. And as Nadya mentioned, we really appreciate the 23 pledges that have come in so far, but the deadline is still open. Please go ahead and make more of these smart pledges so that we can continue to focus and profile these important commitments. That pledge is at midnight, of course, on Friday night, I believe going into Saturday. And of course, that those pledges linked to our leaderboard, and there's been a fantastic feedback on that as well, with a lot of people participating in that. These are ways of recognizing your engagement in this community, crucial as it is. I hope I've summed up what everyone has had to say, and those being the highlights. I just want to do as much as possible to give you guys the credit that you deserve. As I say, it's been a delight and privilege. Back to you, Nadya.
Thank you so much, Veronica. Next up, let's have a look at one more video by UNEP and COBSI that highlights the role that all of us play to tackle this huge issue. All right, we'd like to invite now a few more speakers to give their closing remarks for today. First up is Caitlin Wyson, UNDP resident representative in Vietnam. Caitlin, please.
Excellency, Mr. Minh Ngan, Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, Ms. Denchin Siring, Regional Director of UNEP, Asia and Pacific, distinguished guests from Vietnam, excellencies from countries in Southeast Asia and East Asia who are joining online and in person here, colleagues from international partners, academia, businesses, and inspiring youth voices. Good afternoon. It is an honor and delight to be joining you here today at the closing session of the Sea of Solutions 2020. Let me first start by commending the organizers, MONRE, the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment in Vietnam, UNEP, UN Environment, and COBSI for hosting this meaningful event, which took place both online and offline and was attended by colleagues from all over Southeast Asia and East Asia region, as well as Vietnamese stakeholders this afternoon. This platform has provided an opportunity to have informative, fruitful discussions and to come up with new ideas and solutions for combating marine litter and marine plastic and marine pollution. I would like to congratulate the government of Vietnam for its recent efforts in addressing plastic pollution at source. The adoption of the National Action Plan for the Marine Plastic Litter earlier this year marked a milestone in the national policy frameworks and a significant commitment for Vietnam. UNDP was honored to support MONRE and VASI in the development of the Marine Debris Action Plan and now in its implementation. At the local level, we have seen unprecedented numbers of initiatives from the provincial authorities and civil society who are all taking actions. However, given the scale of the challenge, we believe in a portfolio and systems approach to tackling plastic pollution. No single point solutions, as we've heard, can solve the most pressing issue of our time. This three-day event has provided us with an excellent picture of what needs to be done at the policy, science, and technology, business, and citizen levels. Solutions must come from all sectors, and only by combining them will we be able to reduce plastic pollution effectively. That is why UNDP Vietnam Here, we actively support the development of policies and work at the grassroots level with partners like the Vietnam Women's Union, informal waste workers, youth, to ensure that no one is left behind. We also engage with industries and companies for circular economy transition and supporting the scale up of innovative solutions. Protecting the ocean from marine plastic debris also means we are contributing to a sustainable ocean economy. And in this context, the main agenda that UNDP is working with the government of Vietnam and the government of Norway is in the context of a high-level international conference on sustainable ocean economy and climate change adaptation entitled Solutions for a Climate Resilient Blue Economy, which will be held in Q4 of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, as I deliver my closing remarks, the equivalent of 5 truckloads of plastic waste would have entered the ocean, and 5 million single-use plastic bottles will have been sold around the world. Clearly, it is time for all stakeholders to take action before it is too late. UNDP stands ready to work with all stakeholders to identify more solutions, unlock new sources of funding, and scale up innovative solutions that offer plastic reduction and sustainable development. We see a tremendous opportunity for Vietnam and its partners in the region to change and shift from being among the world's worst plastic polluters to being one of the greatest drivers for innovation that sustainably addresses the problem of plastic waste. The time to act is now, before it is too late to save our planet for people and for generations to come. We look forward to partnering with all of you on this pressing challenge of our time. Thank you. Sim Kamun.
Thank you very much, Ms. Caitlin Wason. Next up, I would like to invite Minh Ngan, the Deputy Minister of Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment from Vietnam.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the 2020 Sea of Solutions Conference has come to the final session. Attending this conference, we all share the same thinking, the same perception that plastic pollution and marine plastics litter has become a global concern, and it's very important for us to come up with urgent actions and effective measures to deal with the plastic pollutions now and in the future. During the last 3 days, we have a lot of fruitful discussions about multiple measures at different levels and both human resource and financial measures for dealing with this challenge. Though the conference has taken place in the form of a virtual conference, we have managed to involve a great variety of participants from the academic community, policy making agency, international organization, the private sectors, individuals, and non-governmental organizations. And you have contributed actively to the success of the conference. And as the co-host, we are very proud to be a part of this process. And I strongly believe that the outcome of this conference will contribute significantly to the implementation of the commitments at the regional and global level on reduction of plastic pollution, marine plastic pollution. And we would like to reaffirm our commitment in participating in international mechanism for reducing marine plastic pollution. And we hope that the solutions and measures discussed here will be implemented and replicated. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to extend our sincere thanks to all of you for your contribution to the success of this important event. And on behalf of the Minister of Natural Resources and Environment, we would like to thank the support, the effective and fruitful support from the UN Environment Program, the NDP, and the COPC. Thank you very much for your support to us, not only in the last few months in preparing for this conference, but also for your continuing support to us during many years. And we thank you very much for your all contribution to this success, the success.
Thank you very much to the Deputy Minister. Next up, we have Ms. Dechen Zering, the Regional Director of UN Environment Program Regional Office of Asia and the Pacific.
Minister Le Minh Na, Deputy Minister of Natural Resources and Environment of Vietnam, Mr. Ta Dinh Thi, Director General, Vietnam Administration of Seas and Islands, Nguyen Cơ Lam, Deputy Director General, VASI, Ms. Caitlin Wiesen, UNDP Resident Representative in Vietnam, Ms. Antoinette Tors, UNEP Goodwill Ambassador, Nadya Hutagalung, UNEP National Goodwill Ambassador, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Dear participants of CF Solutions 2020, over the past 3 days, we have seen extraordinary engagement from 1,220 registered participants from more than 100 countries. I'm encouraged and impressed with the wealth of knowledge that has been shared. The partnerships and the partnerships amongst you on ideas exchanged forged towards solving the problem of plastic pollution. And I'm grateful to all of you for coming together like this at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect so many aspects of our lives. This second annual Sea of Solutions event has brought together stakeholders from all along the plastic value chain, national governments, mayors, businesses, academia, international development and civil society partners, and consumers. The many animated discussions of the past days have sent a resounding message. We are all part of the solution. Now is the time to move forward together for a greener and a more inclusive recovery from this pandemic and for sustained action that will eventually halt plastic pollution. I would like to thank our co-host of Sea of Solutions 2020, the government of Vietnam, for what has been delivered together, the end result of which you see today. The support provided by the Vietnam administration for seas and islands throughout the weeks of preparation for this partnership has really been truly amazing. I would also like to thank partners on this year's event, including UN Habitat, Plasticity, AREA, UNDP, WWF, Seven Clean Seas, Ocean Policy Research Institute of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, Ocean Recovery Alliance, Plasticity, 3RI, Regional Capacity Center for Clean Seas, South Pole, the Secretariat of the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions. I would also like to thank the many speakers discussants, and moderators who contributed time and effort to crafting the event program and shared a wealth of knowledge and expertise. Your contribution has made this enriching as well as enjoyable. And I would like to thank the government of Sweden for their support and for making this event possible. I would also like to thank my wonderful colleagues at UNEP under the leadership of Jirka, who have worked tirelessly. We have seen fantastic engagement across sessions, side events, virtual booths, and many inspiring lightning talks. Here at Sea of Solutions 2020, 10 ministers and vice ministers shared the vision for cooperation and action. Thank you for this invaluable contribution and for your efforts. The broad participation of the private sector clearly shows that businesses see themselves as part of the solution. And I'm especially thankful to our colleagues who have shared the latest technologies, business models, and innovations that support transformational change and the commitment to leave no one behind. I also want to highlight the importance of the active involvement of communities and social enterprises, the informal sector, and youth. To achieve our goals, Sea of Solution must be an inclusive platform, and a platform that includes the generations that will be taking the reins of plastic pollution and marine litter reduction efforts across sectors. Finally, my heartfelt thanks to the 20 plus organizations and individuals that pledge to change the way they use, produce, and dispose of plastic. Thank you for your leadership and for being a source of inspiration to us all. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced us to be more creative in organizing an event of this magnitude in a virtual format. With your help, we have learned a lot, and we will apply this learning for the future as it very much fits with and contributes to reducing climate change emissions and pollution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful 3 days. As Sea of Solutions 2020 closes, I encourage you to make the most of what you have learned here, of the new connections you have made, and the partnerships and solutions that have emerged. And I can encourage you to stay in touch with us. We are already looking forward to Sea of Solutions 2021. I hope to work with you all on this, and I look forward to seeing you there. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dechen. Next up, we have a song from Antoinette. The song is titled Goodbye.
Your Excellencies, to our honorable members of the United Nations, to our distinguished panel of speakers, guests, colleagues, friends, and heroes, truly it is my honor to be able to join you once again, this time for Sea of Solutions 2020. And as we move forward together to build back better for people and the planet, may we always carry deep within our hearts that everything we do for the children of the world and the generations to come, that they may not just survive the climate crisis, but be able to thrive and see the beauty and wonder of the world just as we have and past generations have. Truly, it is the right of every child in this world. Today, I'd like to share with you a special song that was originally released in 1991 by an extremely talented Filipino group called Smoky Mountain. The group was actually named after an infamous landfill in the Philippines back then, and this song was written by master composer Ryan Cayabyab. The words from the point of view of a child living on a mountain of garbage. The song called Paraiso, which to us in the Philippines means paradise. Return to a land called Paraiso, a place where dying river ends, no bird take someone else's coins and live in fear like the rest of the boys. Paraíso, help me make a stand. Paraíso, take me by the hand. Paraíso, make the world understand that if I could see a single bird, what a joy this tired and hungry land could expect. Some truth and hope and respect from the rest of the for people on the planet and the generations to come.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. And this just goes to show the power of storytelling, the power of visuals, the power of music, and the power of art to be able to shift hearts and minds. And I said it last time, and I urge all of you out there who are trying to implement change, engage people, find the way to tell stories, because we have a massive conservation communication breakdown. We need to be able to get people to move from a place of apathy to a place of empathy, and that comes through telling stories. Now, this may be the end of the event, but the event platform stays open for engagement. And if you haven't had the chance, reach out to speakers and participants, submit your pledge, and have a look at some of the other recorded sessions. Thank you so much for participating in this year's Sea of Solutions. I'm Nadya Hutagalung, and it has been an absolute pleasure to be your host.